So, my first question is to VC. Has anyone seen Friday the 13th Part 8? All right. Now, Jason is killing everybody on the boat, but he threw your motherfucking ass off the boat. Now, did Jason think that you didn't know how to swim?
I think it was implied. But you know what? It's so funny because in that I've kind of told this story a couple of times, but I didn't even know I was shooting a Friday the 13th. I literally didn't. I went through the whole tropes like everybody else does. You know, I went to Paramount, I auditioned, and I had heard that they had wanted like boxers from all over, like Detroit, New York, all they were looking for all these hard. And then they finally doubled back to LA or whatever. And you know, I'm not the biggest person, so you know, I went in there, did my thing, and they never show their cards. They never act like they like you. They said, "Hey, dude, we're feeling you, blah blah blah. But how many sweatshirts you got on?" I had like about 8 sweatshirts on or whatever. long short, I got the part. But when I first got the script, I'm flipping through the pages. I'm like, oh shit, I get to 14, I get to 26. I'm like, I'm in this shit to win this shit. I get to 30, 40, and I see I make it to the end, right? So anyway, so you know, I'm like, okay, well, cool, I get the part. I'm in the waiting room, the little lobby to board the plane, and one of the actresses, she goes, oh my God, you know, are you with the production? I'm like, yeah, you know, she goes, what does it feel like to shoot a Friday the 13th? Now they changed the names on these things so that you don't really know, you know, so the public doesn't get it out. So I'm like, you know, I don't know what you're going to shoot, but darling, I'm shooting Burial at Sea. It was Friday the 13th. So I found out on the way to shoot the movie. But I just say that to say they had all the normal tropes, you know, you're falling, you're running, you know, you fall over nothing. I'm like, a brother wouldn't do that. So in large part, I take a lot of credit for what you see up there because they had all the typical things in there. And, you know, you just got to kind of let them know you cast me for a certain thing. And, you know, that's what you see. So it was a blessing. You know, it was cool. All right.
Going down the line here, Rusty, in all of the Tales from the Hood movies. Yup. I've always wanted to know, what is the shit?
The shit. You know, the shit was just an organic thing, man. It came out when we were writing. You kind of go, these kids come up and they're fucking with the Undertaker, Clarence Williams III, and they want the shit. And Clarence, the actor, put so much into that. Years ago, I went to see Oliver Stone talk about Scarface. And I said to Oliver Stone, they had a Q&A like this, and I raised my hand, and I said, hey, how many motherfuckers did you write, and how many did Al Pacino say, just on his own? And he said, I did about half. And I would say I did about half of the shits, and the rest were the guys, Clarence Williams and the boys.
All right, thank you, Rusty. Miss Rachel True.
Y'all.
Hey, girl. I always want to know if you ever thought, when you think about where your character comes from, Rochelle from The Craft, where were her parents and why did they let Rochelle hang out with those crazy white girls?
Yeah!
We actually shot a scene with my parents that was obviously cut from the movie. Didn't miss much because the entire time my parents were like, could you get us a line? And I was like, no. I'm barely black in this movie. I can't do anything. So we're just Literally what my agent said before I left to go shoot it.
Wow.
You're black in this movie. You cannot act like these white girls. You cannot hang out with these white girls. You blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's different times. But yeah, and here we are. So where were her parents? They were like under fives, but not really downgraded to extras. That's where my parents were. But my parents moved me from New York City, like New York fucking City in the East Village, right when I was going to like junior high to up fucking state New York. All white. So that's where Rochelle's parents are.
Thank you, Rachel.
Wait, I just want to say one more thing. I was so lucky to work. I worked on Harlem, the TV show with Grace, who's in this movie. She's phenomenal. She was the sweetest, lovely. All the ladies on the show were. And I just want to give props, like Tracy and the other people involved in this, because it was just such a beautifully run set. And for any of you out there who are like, I'm a director or showrunner, which I've never done any of those things, but you can be done and done nicely and well and still get all your shots, right, gentlemen? Yeah. So just shout out to them.
Mr. Sagoes.
Yes.
Now, you were in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 and Part 4.
That's before they forgot to kill me in court.
Ah, shit, right? Justice for Kincaid. Now, in the third one, you ended up in Weston Hills. Where were Kincaid's parents when Kincaid was telling them about Freddy Krueger? As a black parents.
Hell, I don't know. What I know is that originally Kincaid was for a white actor. It wasn't supposed to be a black actor. So Wes Craven, they decided to make Kincaid a black actor at the last minute. And when I didn't know how, I had never watched The Nightmare on Elm Street. I didn't know what The Nightmare on Elm Street was. And how I got the role was because, back then, they had things called, the breakdown, and you had to, they tell you what character they're looking for. Well, the character they was looking for, Kincaid, with his nice body, 29-inch waist guy. That shit wasn't me. So he wanted me to go to this audition. So I went to, but I had to go to court that day. And when I had to go to court, it was like downtown LA, and the audition was over in Beverly Hills, and I didn't have a car. And it was raining, so make a long story short, I lost the court case. And when I got to the audition, it was raining, and it was like, they was an hour behind. And so I really had an attitude. So when they went in and asked me, they thought I was acting. And the lady, she said, oh, he's so cute. And I'm, oh, white woman, a white woman wanted to rub my cheeks back then. And so I just really had an attitude, and I looked at it, and I said, I know black person don't say this shit. So Chuck Russell said, say it the way a black person would say it. So I kind of cussed him out, and so, and he just told me to leave. I get home, my agent called. I said, I told you I didn't want to go. He said, they loved you. Working a while, that don't always work. I tried it on the next audition.
All right, this question is for every.
Can I just say one more thing? You keep asking where our parents were. You are not Gen X or older, because we know, Gen X knows, there were commercials on TV saying, do you know where your children are? That's how different times were then.
Fact stand corrected.